Welcome to my YouTube video today. I don't know if you can tell, I have a lot of yellow things here today. So let me tell you about this YouTube video today. Combine my charcoal with all things yellow as a way of exploring colour and tone and the way that charcoal reacts with yellow. So I went on a hunt. So I've got a whole stack of sketchbooks here. This is a bit of a mixed media play, really. And I don't really care how they turn out. I just want to see what happens and see if there's something I really like. So I've got a stack of sketchbooks. I've got an A4 one just here that you can't see. Let me show you the yellow things I've got. Alright, we'll start with the acrylic paints. I've got some high flow acrylic paints in two different colours. Hansa yellow and yellow mid. One's a warmer, one's a cooler one. I haven't done that on purpose. I just literally grabbed everything yellow. I also have some acrylic inks. Well, that's a pigment ink by Art Spectrum, and this one's an acrylic ink by Atelier, and that's just in Indian yellow, and this one's just yellow. Cool. I also, in the Art Spectrum pigment inks, grabbed my yellow ochre. I also have, like, I've had these for donkey's years, ever since I did like art journaling and scrapbooking. This is Dina Wakley's acrylic paint, so I think it's more of a heavy body. That's kind of why I grabbed it. So that's cool, yeah. So then we've got some paint pens, paint markers, so Poscas. And I have a Liquitex big fat chunky mama. All in different shades of yellow. So what's this one? Liquitex is called Yellow Medium Azo, if I'm saying that correctly. Hopefully I am. And I think the Poscas, yeah, that one's just called yellow. This one I think is also just called yellow, because I think it's the same colour, just different nib. And this one I think slightly different. Yeah, this is straw yellow, so it's a little bit more of a muted yellow. Yeah, so cool. So I've got paint markers. I've got some weird stuff too. Can't wait to show you. Yeah, so that's it for the acrylic paints. I've also got watercolour paints. So I've got a set of, which one? Kuretake Gansai Tambi. I think I'm saying that right. I've had this set for donkeys, so I thought I'd do that. I've also got in my little paint tin, this is Winsor Yellow. I think it's just called Winsor Yellow. It comes in a tube that I've squeezed into here, so I'm going to use Winsor Yellow. And I've also got here, now I don't know the name of this one, but I'm fairly certain this is Holbein's Gouache. So I bought a couple of tubes of it to try, and I put it in here. I don't know where the actual tubes are, so we're going to use it out of the little pan that I've dried. I'm going to leave that in here with this watercolor. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I have one single Tombow marker. I don't want to ruin it though, but that's fine. I have a Prismacolor colored pencil called Canary Yellow. I do have more pencils, but I just grabbed the first one I could find. So that's what that one is. I have a Neocolor 2, so this is the Neocolors that are water soluble. I have here, so these are just Pitt Pastel pencils from Faber-Castell. I have a set of, I think it's 12, and these are just the two that come in it. I don't know what the names are because they don't write it on there, but it's 102 and 106 if you're interested. Them. I have an actual soft pastel, so this is just, I couldn't tell you which brand or what color this is. This is just in my big box. I got a million of them, but I just grabbed one because I got a bit, found I was getting a bit filly. It was a bit too much stuff. Then I thought, let's go oil pastels. I literally grabbed everything yellow. So I've got a set of the really nice Sennelier oil pastels, but I also grabbed this one, which is orange yellow. So it's probably more orange and yellow. I'm gonna try it. I like it. It's more a warm yellow, really. In the Holbein, I'm fairly certain it's just a student grade oil pastel. But I grabbed 3 different colors from the Sennelier. As you can see, I've not really used it much because I get a little bit precious with my art supplies, and I need that not to be the case. So let's have a look at the colors. That one's yellow, lemon yellow, so that's your cool yellow. We got yellow deep, so you're warm, and this one is, oh, Naples yellow. I'm gonna guess that's a Naples yellow light though, because it is a pastel-y yellow. So I've got that. What else have I got? Alright, now this is where things get a little bit odd. So I went into a phase of wanting to make my own watercolour paints. So I bought all the stuff for it, including a heap of pigments. So I've got here 2 different pigments by Langridge. So actually really good quality pigments. They're just dry, ground up pigments. One is Aralide Lemon, and this one's Diarylide Yellow. If you know how to say that, let me know, without an Aussie accent. Diarylide. Is it diary? Diarylide Yellow. Anyway, again, it's more of a cool, warmish kind of sits. Now, when I'm recording, when I'm using these, I'm going to probably have to use a voiceover because I'll have to mask up for that one. I'm not prepared to kill my lungs over that. Always super important when you're using dry pigments. Even to an extent, soft pastels you're meant to use a mask. I don't with the soft pastels, but with these I will, because they're very pure pigment, and I do not want to die anytime soon. Thank you. Now for them, I've got textile medium. I've got a crap ton of this because I went through a phase where I wanted to paint on clothes. So I've got this, and then another really big bottle of the Chromacryl. Oh my gosh, why do I have to name things really hard? Can't they name it like dog, cat? So it's just textile medium, which I'm going to mix with the ground pigments. I've got some spray paint. I don't know how good this is because it looks like it's been leaking. I've had it for donkey's years, but again, I'm going to have to use it outside with a mask, but you'll know when that happens. So I've got that. I could grab some yellow paper. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but we'll have a red hot crack. And I've got some yellow tissue paper, which I use to wrap up my orders, but I don't get many orders yet. So that's my yellow. I have a yellow pencil case as well, but I don't know if that counts. I have an orange pen. Does that count? I might use that. I'm going to put that over here. Other things I got. My charcoal. Let's have a look at the charcoal. I bought this charcoal. There's one of my friends has started a art supply shop, and so this is, she sells this there. It's Willow Charcoal by, I'm not even going to try and name that. I'm not even going to try and read it. That's it there. We'll try that today. I've got these ones. These are the Peel and Sketch ones by General Pencils. I like General Pencils. I've also got just their General's Charcoal in a 2B. And I've also just got some Willow. This is Marie's, so it's quite a cheap brand of Willow. These, I have no idea what brand they are. I just have them in my shed. I've also got some General's Compressed Charcoal and some Creator Color. Real soft pastel. It's not pastel, sorry. It's soft charcoal. I want to have a go at them, but they're in a little box and I'm not sure where they are. Hopefully I'll be able to find them for you today. Also, like, yellow dress as well, just putting that out there. Like, cool, talk about dedication. Oh, did I mention, I don't know if I mentioned, I also have some like yellow post-it notes too. I'm not joking. I just went everything I've got that's yellow. Let's get cracking. I'm going to do a couple of loose drawings in here of a rose of a flower that I took in my garden. I'm just going to use Willow Charcoal for these two. A lot of charcoal down because I really want that charcoal to mix with whatever I'm putting on it. Let's go. Let's add a bit of this Neo Color too over here. This one, I'm just going to go, this is Windsor Yellow for this one. Oh, Cool. Now have a look, because I just put, it's actually gone this really cool like greeny kind of colour. I actually don't mind how this turned out. So these are now dry. So this was Neocolor, and because it's Neocolor, wherever I've not really fully wetted it, it's actually quite hard to draw over, which I knew that, but so see like there, it's not been fully dissolved. I just want to see what happens with the Neocolor when I mix them, because that's partly what I'm here for. They're both water soluble. Oh yeah, well, that's quite dark. What happens if I add a bit more Neocolor? They're making quite nice greens. Nice, nice, nice. This actually I don't mind. I actually think I'm going to leave them. I'm just going to grab my watercolor sketchbook. I'm going to draw in just the watercolor, that green, and just going to do this. I really kind of liked that flower, and the flower kind of goes here-ish, but then there were these little buds. Alright, so now that I've done that, I'm actually going to use, because this here, this is the Holbein, potentially Holbein gouache, is actually a warmer tone. So I'm actually going to paint kind of some general shapes of some leaves here, up here, and then add the charcoal on top. Gonna let that one dry. Let's keep going though with the watercolor. Let's go a mix of this. Let's go yellow. This super bright yellow. We're gonna use a different flower though. Let's go back to the other one. That's kind of the general shape of the flower. I wonder what happens if I mix with this one. Ooh, it's different. It's different, isn't it? It's not just me. I'm gonna mix on here. Okay, my phone died, so I've quickly finished the watercolor while I was, and I love this green. It doesn't look that much different to this one, but this is with the lemon yellow from the Kuretake. I just wrote some notes here so I don't forget, because that's the whole point of this, is to make sure I know these things. So I'm actually just going to go over with one of the pencil. This is actually a hard one, so I don't want it to smudge too much. I like this one. It's quite dark, this one. I wonder if it would make a difference with the watercolor. Let's see if it makes a different color. So I'll use the Kuretake again. It tints it easier, but still very similar green. It's not bad, not bad, not bad. Wonder what would then, wonder if I then go in with more watercolor, just for some of these shadows. I like that. Alright, I'm gonna leave it to dry. Let's have a crack at this one. I'm actually thinking about using different charcoal for this. Maybe let's use this. So this is the Cretacolor 49500. It's so small, soft, but I love the lines that I can get with it. So let me get my reference tip again. I just want to see as well how both watercolours react to this charcoal differently. So what I am going to do is let these dry, spray them with fixative, and then I'm going to paint over the sprayed artworks. Here's what I'm gonna do. So these I've sprayed with fixative with quite a heavy amount. It still is coming up a little bit, but let's have a look. I'm gonna go with some of this Holbein again. Holbein gouache. Sorry, it still has charcoal in it, but that's fine. That's really interesting. It beads up a little bit on some of the charcoal that's been fixed really well. I don't want to touch that one. I like how that one looked. I'm going to go to one of my handmade sketchbooks now. I've done a little bit of sketching in this. Now this sketchbook's only got cartridge paper in it, but so far it's handled just about most of what I can throw at it. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I've actually got my post-it note. I'm going to use the tissue paper, and I'm actually going to use the textile medium. I'm just going to try it, see how it goes as a, I don't know, I want that, don't I? Let's go with that. See if it goes as a glue. It's really thin, so it is just soaking in really easy. It's kind of why I wanted a matte medium. No, that's not going to work, is it? So this is actually charcoal from some bushfires. I'm just going to crush a bit on here to add to the textile medium just to see what happens. Couldn't find any matte medium, but got some matte Mod Podge. I think that should do the trick. Alright, so I've got the post-it. Let's go with bits of this. Need to let that dry. Actually, wonder what would happen if I drew into that while the Mod Podge is still wet. So I'm going to get a small piece of the old willow charcoal. It's not great drawing into it wet. It doesn't work for me, so I'm just going to let that dry. Okay, so this is all dry now. So this has the matte Mod Podge over quite a bit of this page. So I'm just going to draw over the top and just see what happens. The matte Mod Podge isn't as matte as I would thought it would be actually. It's got a bit of a sheen to it, which does kind of mean that it doesn't take the charcoal quite as well. Although this one seems to be doing better than the willow. So the willow seems to be quite scratchy on this. Interesting. Interesting. Wonder if it'd be any different. Oh, this one doesn't like it at all. Oh, this charcoal pencil does not like drawing over the Mod Podge. My hard peel and sketch seems to be alright. Let's try the soft one. Yeah, see, it seems to be alright too. I haven't actually used much of the compressed charcoal yet, so let's go. Let's use this. Oh, that compressed charcoal is not an issue. It's actually kind of a little bit quite smooth. got two sketches. It was the same chicken. Doesn't really look like it. This one's my favourite one out of the two. Anyway, just used willow charcoal here. I'm going to actually, for these ones, I'm going to try the oil pastels. Now the reason I didn't do oil pastels first, because I know the charcoal won't go well on top. So I've got different types of yellow, so I might actually, let's go this up here. I can, but I kind of basically got to push the pastel out of the way to get to paper. I'm actually scratching off the oil pastels where I'm doing this, as opposed to actually layering. I like that. Oil pastels are not exactly the most compatible medium with other mediums. They're really, it's a bit like oil paint, not really compatible with anything else. You kind of want to use them on top of other materials. They're not really pop down your oil pastels first and then put things on top. So I kind of knew that, but I do like how that looks and how it's kind of mixed. Let's have a go at the soft pastels. So I've got the soft pastels here. This is block and these are the soft pastel pencils, Pitt pencils. This is mixing really well with the charcoal, and one of the good things is with the soft pastels is I can then go over the top again with the charcoal. I actually really like how both of these chickens turned out. It's actually very cool. Anyway, I think the pastels, I kind of knew the pastels would work really well. I just didn't realize how much I'd love them, because I'm a massive fan of pastels. Anyway, put that to the side. Okay, mask on, future Courtney here for your pleasure. So I mixed the dry ground pigments with the matte Mod Podge, which took a little bit of mixing, but that's not really uncommon for ground pigments. And then started applying with a brush, and I really liked how it was going down, a bit like acrylic. But then I had a brainwave to add some crushed charcoal to see what happened. Changed the colour a little bit, but it added some texture as well. I really liked it. Wouldn't mind adding more charcoal next time. Right, for this one, I think we're gonna pull out some of this Anlaki. It's kind of cool. It's got a box like this. It's all just willow charcoal in there. Let's try it. They're super thin, but sometimes that's okay, especially in my sketchbook. This is actually very nice willow charcoal. I'm just going to put it out there. And from what I can remember, it wasn't overly expensive either. But that's actually come out really nicely. It works really well over the top of this Mod Podge, because it's quite rough. Now that it's dry, it's really quite rough. And this is a bit harder because it's rougher. What about if I go back to my willow? What, does that make a difference? Not really the most ideal for this. It is super rough. This one's rougher. I think the charcoal that I broke up into it was chunkier. And this pigment didn't want to mix with the matte medium. I actually really liked that. I enjoyed using this over the top of that. That's actually kind of cool, because it has the feel of acrylic paint when you're using it, but I can draw over it really easily. That's very interesting. Good to know. So did the spray painting. It's actually, as you can see, I decided to spray paint over the charcoal to kind of see what would happen. And it's really just kind of gone over the charcoal. It hasn't mixed with it or anything. It's a bit different. Anyway, so I'm just going to see how it goes drawing over the top of the spray paint. It's not as shiny as I thought it would be, and like I put quite a bit here, so it's put so much of the dripped. So I don't know, let's have a little crack at doing some drawings. Very pleasantly surprised at how easily I could draw over the spray paint. That's really cool. It's really cool to know that. I actually like how this guy ended up. Very loose. Really want to try getting more of that really loose expressionistic style to it. One side I'm going to paint over, and then the other side I'm going to just do a charcoal and then add paint to the charcoal afterwards. So actually we'll do the charcoal first and then we can add the paint to both sides. Alright, so there's a couple of different paints I want to try. I don't know, I'm going to just start with this high flow acrylic. Put that aside to dry, and I'm going to go back over it again. Alright, we're going to move on to using some acrylic markers and stuff. I don't want to ruin my acrylic markers, so going over the top of the charcoal's not really an option, because I think that will ruin the marker. Too soon. Let that dry. I think I really do like this willow charcoal, but I think I'm going to go to this one. The acrylic markers are not particularly easy to draw over, especially with this harder charcoal. I find the softer charcoal is usually a lot more forgiving over less porous materials. It's not the nicest to draw over. It's not the best picture, not the best drawing either. Let's try this one. I might go the Generalist charcoal pencil. I haven't used that yet. Oh, that's even worse. Yeah, you can see that it's not going down at all, and that's a medium. Let's try the other. Oh, it's a lot easier. See, the softer the charcoal, the easier it is. I also didn't enjoy the charcoal over the top of the acrylic markers. So I've got a nice picture of a kookaburra here. So it is kind of mixing with the ink on the page a little bit. actually going over this quite well. I didn't know how to go over the acrylic because as you can see there, it's not matte. It's actually quite shiny and quite glossy, which usually means, you know, you can't put dry media on it, is my usual rule of thumb. But no, that's going over quite well. Yeah, cool. That's turned out really nicely. I've got two more ingredients. Two more things I haven't tried. These are the last two things I haven't tried yet. Now, with my Tombow marker, it's a bit like my paint markers. I'm fairly certain if I get charcoal all up in this nib, it's probably going to ruin it. So I'm going to put it down first, and I'm going to do it both ways with this one. So I'm just going to see how it goes. Let's go. Last two materials. Woo-woo, to last two materials. Little pen and pencil stance. Let's go. Alright, so this one was just the pencil. I'm gonna... yeah, it doesn't like going over the heavy pencil quite really well. Yeah, I actually don't mind it with the yellow underneath. So let's go. Here's the same fish, probably will look completely different yet again. Alright, let's go with this pencil over the top. It actually kind of blends with the charcoal more than I thought it would, which is very interesting. Which do I prefer out of that? I still think I prefer either the marker or the pencil first with the charcoal on top. I don't know, you lose a lot of the yellow quality, whereas the yellow stays super vibrant when you put it down first. So I kind of like these two a lot better than this one. Although this kind of has different feel. I think it just depends on what you're trying to achieve. It'd be interesting with other colours. Let's have a look at the final drawings, and I'll go through each one and tell you what I liked and what I didn't like. Keep this bit short because I know I've rambled on during the actual drawing segment of this. Here we got our oil pastels and our soft pastels. Thoroughly enjoyed these ones. Not as much the soft pastels. I'm a soft pastel girl through and through, but these oil pastels, especially those super soft Sennelier pastels, were so good with the charcoal, and it surprised me. These were the Tombow marker and the Prismacolor pencil with the charcoal. Everything's with charcoal, funnily enough. That's what this video is about. Loved them. Did enjoy putting the pencil and the Tombow marker down first with the charcoal on top. Still liked it with the pencil on top of the charcoal, just not as much as the other way around. These were actually the first two I did, and it was and I even wrote notes because I knew I would forget. So you got the Holbein gouache. Down in the corner here I used the Winsor yellow watercolor with the charcoal just to see what would happen, what the colors did. And this was the lemon yellow Kuretake Gansai Tambi with the charcoal. Liked both of these. Not a massive fan of this drawing. I feel like I need to go in again with the charcoal and then maybe go over it with like acrylic to trying to get that some of that really super opaque, or even just some fresh gouache out of the tube, just to get that super opaqueness in and around here. But I loved it. I loved the way it reacted with the watercolor and the gouache, and the watercolor really enjoyed, really loved it, and I will definitely be doing that again. These next ones I did upside down. Good one, Courtney. These have to be my two favourite sketches. This was the spray paint, which I was shocked at how well I could draw on top of the spray paint, especially where it was super thick. I'm wondering if it wasn't actually as thick as I thought, but I also like the way these sketches turned out. I felt like it was nice to draw on this surface. As you can see, when I put the spray paint on top of the charcoal, it didn't do much. This one I didn't enjoy. The collage underneath, it could have been the Mod Podge. It definitely didn't enjoy drawing over the really textured bit of tissue. I much preferred the smoother. So I kind of do like how there's patches of colour, but I could do that with anything really. So yeah, I might do some collage, but I know I'm not going to do the tissue like that. If anything, I want it nice and smooth. What are these ones? Oh, these ones I loved. So this was the ground pigment in Mod Podge. Yeah, I added it into Mod Podge. Matte medium I think would do the same thing. Acrylic medium would do the same thing. So what I found was it made the ground pigment act like acrylic paint with the feel of gouache. So it was almost like I turned the pigments into acrylic gouache. I actually added ground up charcoal to it as well. If I do that again, I will do it finer, because it was where the chunks and the really super textured bits were that were harder to draw on. Although I did like the texture. It's like it's got a grit to it, so it's very nice to draw on top of. So I really think it's a really good ground to work on. So this is something I'm definitely going to try again, and maybe even some larger pieces. This was the pigmented ink and the acrylic ink. So this was the ochre, yellow ochre in the pigmented ink. Really like, I love drawing loosely with inks. I think it's just fun, so fun. I usually use a stick, or in this case I used the actual dropper, and then used charcoal while it was wet. Didn't really work as well. If anything, I'd do it a bit like the ground pigment and actually mix it into the ink maybe next time. I'd like to try. And then this was just a drawing over the top of the Indian Yellow acrylic ink by Atelier, just to see if it would draw on, and it was fine, perfectly fine. It was great. This was the acrylic paint. I didn't actually finish it. Whoops. But I did like it. Yeah, see, it's nice to draw over too. I'll just quickly demonstrate for you. So this is that's that compressed charcoal. But I actually really kind of like how I would probably, if this was my actual artwork, I would go over it again. And I probably would have, like, I don't think, have I sprayed it? I did spray it. So I would actually probably go over it with paint, with it sprayed. So I know that it's not going to interfere with the acrylic paint, and just keep layering with the paint and the charcoal. This was the acrylic paint pens. Not a fan. I don't think I'm going to do that again. If anything, I'll do it, and then I'll have to add a layer of matte medium or something over it to give it tooth for me to draw. But why do that when I enjoyed using the ground pigments as much as I did? This was the acrylic inks again. So that was the yellow pigmented ink, and this was a mix of the yellow pigmented ink and the Atelier acrylic ink, because the yellow, because it's such a lemon yellow, it was lost with the charcoal, because I put the charcoal first, the lemon ink on top, and I kind of lost that ink. It didn't have a vibrancy, so I thought maybe the acrylic ink, which kind of has a little bit of opacity to it, and it kind of brought it back. Thanks for joining me. If you loved this the way I loved it, because I'm not gonna lie, I so enjoyed this, let me know if you want me to do one with a different color, because I actually think I'm going to do it anyway. But let me know what colors you would like me to do, whether you want to do pink, blue, whatever, and I will gather all of those materials and I will do it, because I've just so enjoyed this. And I'm going to finish on this page. Thank you so much for joining me. I've had a ball. I hope you've had a ball. I hope you've done some drawing, some experimenting. I hope this inspires you to go try some stuff. Try some mixed media. That's what a sketchbook is for. Trying new things. Go try some new stuff now. Go. Bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe.